Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with Centur-Ion, just pure Centur-Ion this time around. Not using the super heavy, although I might try that variant again at some point this season. Yeah, Centur-Ion is a deck that I have, of course, historically had a ton of fun playing. As always, whenever I say, what, Hexlex enjoying a synchro deck? No, couldn't be. But this deck just feels really good to play. Not just because of the fact that I like synchro summoning, but also like the ratios for this deck and its playstyle I think are both extremely satisfying. From the ratio standpoint, this deck has so many hand traps and so many extenders, right? We are on the Bestials, which I do often see it's specified as Bestial Centurion, but if you ask me, playing this small Bestial package is like pretty much just how you play a Centurion build, right? I kind of consider this a pure Centurion, but I don't know. I understand, you know, some people like to really pick that apart, but I'm not always one of those. Anyway, but yeah, like as far as starters, we have what? 3 Primera plus 3 Trudea, that's 6, plus the 2 Bonfires for the Trudea, that's going to be 8, plus 3 of the field spells is 11, plus 3 Emblema is 14. That's a lot. Like, if you really consider even, like, pre-ban list Snake Eye and Yubel decks, they would have, like, what, maximum 12 or 13 one-card starters? So for this deck to have, well, I guess technically the field spell is 1.5, but I don't know. It's basically one card. So for this deck to have 14 is very, very impressive. And in the hand trap department, this is not only a deck that has a lot of starters, but also a lot of room for hand traps. So if we count the Bestials like Magnum Hut, Druistorm, and Baldrake as hand traps, which I do, then we are playing 3 Valor plus 3 Maxi is 6, plus 3 Ash Blossom is 9, plus 3 Bestials is 12, plus Nib is 13, plus 3 Infinite Impermanence is 16 hand traps. Even if you're being, like, you know, generous and not counting the Bestials, that's still 13. Or I guess less than generous and not counting the Bestials. That's still 13, which is still on the upper part for what most decks in the meta play. So, like I said, Centurion just has very, very satisfying ratios. You know, like 14 starters is even so many that you really don't have to play the Bonfires. But I like having so many starters because, again, just having plays is very, very nice. There are some games with Centurion where you do just kind of have like hand traps plus Bestials plus like a random wake up or Phalanx or, you know, Gargoyle or something. So it is always ever good to just, again, maximize your potential to be able to make plays, right? This build is pretty standard from not only the ones I've been playing, but just in general, but I don't know, I like it quite a bit. I do still maintain my opinion that this is probably on, like, the lower end of Tier 2, as far as, like, the deck's power level, and it's only going to get better. It's got multiple waves of support coming, so very, very eager to see those. This is also yet another one of those decks that a lot of people say plays pretty well into Tempai, and you know, that's easy to see with a deck like Mathmech, where Terahertz inherently has a lot of counterplay to the Tempai strategy, right? And, you know, it's easy to see that with, like, Adventure Synchron, which I've also been on quite a bit. I don't know what order these videos are going to come out in, so I might have already played Adventure Synchron, or I've not played it yet. But anyway, I'm playing quite a bit of that, and that's also a pretty good deck against Tempai, because it can make some, you know, long combo plays when it's allowed to go first. But Centurion, like, I don't think it's got a particularly awful matchup, but, like, I don't know what makes the matchup super good. Like, I guess you can set up the Omni Negate pretty much every time, and you'll have Phalanx, but, like, I don't know, that's the other thing about Centurion. Like, I don't consider the end board to be, like, super crazy. I think it's good. Like I said, I mean, I think this is just a good deck, but if the Centurion end board is one that people say is, like, particularly good against Tempai, then I'm kind of inclined to think that Tempai is, like, not as, you know, format warping or game breaking as a lot of people have claimed it was going to be, which I kind of figured that was going to be the case anyway, but yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting, right? To kind of assess the meta now that it's actually here, you know? I mean, everything gets overhyped, right? That's not just true of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's true of a lot of games, but it does happens quite a bit in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, you know, a deck will get, cards in general will get way, way overhyped as they're coming in. When people misevaluate, it tends to be to assume something is better than it is. It's not nearly as often where a card that is thought to be bad actually ends up being cracked. It's very, very often the other way around. I'm not saying Tenpai is a bad deck, by the way. I'm not at all making that claim. But, like, at this point in time, you know, in Master Duel, like, a little under a week after the deck has come out here, I don't know if I can call it tier 1, but anyway, that's all I'm talking about Tenpai. This is a Centur-Ion profile, so yeah, like I said, the list here is pretty standard. The only kind of weird thing I do for my extra deck is instead of a second Blazar, because I only own the one, I play a Shooting Quasar because I have pulled one of these. If I were going to craft one or the other, I would just craft the second Blazar. However, again, like I said, I pulled a Shooting Quasar, and this is effectively the same thing. It's an Omni Negate. It just doesn't tribute itself, and more importantly, it doesn't have the option to, you know, negate a summon or an attack in the battle phase. But, you know, of course, like 9 times out of 10 when you summon a Blazar, you're just going to Omni Negate anyway. So for a second option, I don't think this is too bad. I've actually seen a, like, I think like 12% of builds or something are actually on the Quasar. I'm assuming for the same reason, that other people out there incidentally own one, which would also make sense because I think Quasar was part of like a Royal Anniversary card that you could get. So a decent number of people incidentally own a Quasar and are just subbing it for the second Blazar. Again, the Blazar is better, but the Quasar is also fine. One card you could play definitely over Bonfire as well that I almost played in this build was Prosp. I almost played Prosp and what was the other card? It was Third Lubellion. I ended up cutting Third Lubellion and Prosp for the 2 Bonfire because like I said, I wanted more access to like my full combo off of one card, right? Just more cards like that. But of course, Third Lubellion and Prosp are just also great cards that you could just play here. Very easy to banish 6 for Prosp. You could easily take like Chaos Archfiend, Typhon, IP, Second Legatia. Those like pretty much never come up. Chaos Angel almost never comes up. Honestly, the Quasar / second Blazar does not come up super duper often. Depending on the game state too, you could end up banishing the Heavenly Spheres or the SP if you're pretty certain your hand is not going to end up needing those. But those I'm a little less like, I would usually tend to want to keep those a little more often. But yeah, not hard to find the 6 cards with the Prosperity here. So yeah, there's not been any new additions to the deck really in terms of like new Centur-Ion cards or just like new text or anything. So for this one, I'm not going to really bother reading it out card by card. You know, we have a lot of the usual suspects here, both in terms of engine and off engine. So I think we're just going to go ahead and start taking a look at some of these duels here. Alright, now would you believe me if I told you that our first game is against Tenpai? Yep. Of course, as always ever, we're facing this deck quite a bit in the current metagame as it is a pretty popular pick. We were going to win the coin flip, so we didn't know we were against Tenpai here as we're taking the first turn. Pretty good opening hand, if I do say so myself. I could lead with Bonfire for Trudea, then I'm going to go Lubellion for the Magnum Hut here. Then I'm going to normal summon the Primera. I guess I led with the Bonfire just to see if they would Ash it. You know, some people do, so always is worth checking. And we can just like pitch the Trudea for the field spell here, which I'm going to set with the Emblem of Oath. So Imperm does not really end up mattering in the grand scheme of things here. Let's flip up the stand-up Centur-Ion, and then of course we're going to, like I said, pitch Trudea to summon a Trudea, or either place a Trudea from the deck. Now here I'm going to banish that Trudea to summon Magnum Hut, and then I can bring back Lubellion. This will enable me to activate the Lubellion effect to place Branded Regained onto my field. We're going to then special Trudea from the spell Trap Zone, use the effect to place itself in Gargoyle 2. Gargoyle 2 effect to summon, we're not going to bump up the level, we're going to go for a 12 here. That is going to be our Centur-Ion Auxilia. Auxilia effect to add a card chain blocked with the Gargoyle 2 to add itself from grave to hand. And naturally with the Auxilia, we're going to grab the trap card Centur-Ion Phalanx. we'll set the Phalanx and pass over to the opponent. A very standard Centurion turn 1 end board. Of course, during the end phase, we're going to not only place the Primera off Auxilia, but adding Baldrake here off Magnum Hut. A lot of people would rather add the Druid Swarm, I've noticed, off the end phase Magnum Hut, but I actually tend to default. Well, it just all depends on the board state, right? But Baldrake actually ends up being better than Druid Storm a lot more of the time because it's a bit more of proactive disruption, right? Druid Storm is something that your opponent is going to have to remove on their turn. It's when it is their turn, rather. It's reactive, whereas Baldrake you can use after they summon a monster. It's a little more proactive in that regard. So, Raigeki, but thankfully the Auxilia is safe. I think due to the field spell, is it? Yeah, cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. No, wait. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to remember what's protecting it here. It's one of these cards. Anyway, I think it might be the field spell. So, I'm going to drop what now? Really not sure why. That's only going to negate the Auxilia here. They then ash the Primera Search, which is completely fine. I'm just going to use the Trudea here. Basically just going to go for the Crimson Dragon, which our opponent's going to concede before we're able to summon. But, yeah, I mean, that's a very basic gameplay loop for Centurion, right? For those who don't know how it would then play out after you summon the Primera and the Trudea, the field spell will then kick in to let you special summon. And here I go for Crimson Dragon to get the Blazar, but sometimes you can also go for Legatia to, you know, get the destroy your opponent's strongest monster and then draw a card effect, which one you go for, and then also what you go for off Crimson Dragon, whether it's Blazar / Quasar or Supernova. That is all just dependent on the matchup, on the situation, you know, in particular. So here we're going for Blazar because our opponent's only got one card left and we just omni-negate it. But in some matchups, like Fire King Sekai, for example, I'd probably be more inclined to go for the Supernova to get a board-wide banish because that tends to be a little more impactful. Again, just like I said, depends what you're playing against and what the current board state is. So anyway, that's enough yapping. Let's go ahead and see our next duel. Okay, this game is going to be against Blackwing. Not the kind of deck that you see on Master Ranked Ladder a lot of the time, but not like super surprised to see it up here either. I mean, Blackwing is, as always, ever a perfectly fine deck. So going second this time, opened some pretty good hand traps here. Again, we play so many of them, so opponent is going to lead with normal Shamal special Harmattan. They can then synchro for 10 after using the level adjust effect, going for the full Armor Master here. You might be wondering why I didn't use the Veiler to stop this, like stop the level adjust to be able to let them go for a higher level synchro monster. My main reasoning is that if I Veilered, they could still sync for 6, which is Boreas the Sharp? Or no, Boreas Storm, the like wind or whatever it's called. They can still go for that, and I mean, this archetype also has quite a few extenders, so for all I know, they could have another extender in hand. I decided to just play it safe and see if I could hold the Veiler or the Nib or something here, but no, I think they're pretty much just going to end up ending on the full Armor Master here, so yeah, even though I opened a lot of Disruption, I just didn't end up using it because I didn't really feel the need to here. And one full Armor Master is really not the most threatening thing in the world here, so get a normal summon Trudea, they're going to use the Imperm on that. That's, as far as I know, their only bit of disruption. They do have, I think, 2 unknown cards, like one of them is the Blackwing they added back, so yeah, 2 unknown cards here that might end up stopping us, but hopefully not. But yeah, that's the thing about full Armor Master, right? It might look really scary because it's unaffected by any other card effect, so it's a full Towers, right? Totally unaffected whatsoever. However, I really don't think it's that hard of a card to out because it's only got 3k attack and defense. So really all you need to be able to do is summon something with more than 3k attack to out it. And here we have the Bestial Dissipator. I will say that this is not only important in this particular situation, but I think actually in general in this meta. Because I've noticed both playing with and against Senpai that a lot of the time they have a bit of a difficulty getting over something that has higher than a 3k stat line. So that's something that I think is an important check for just about any deck that you play, is like, can you out something that has 3000 attack or defense? Just something to keep in mind in the deck building phase, you know, moving forward. But I'll use Dissipator to take their Shamal. Then I'll Dissipator battle over full Armor Master, slam with Shamal and the Trudea. After that, I'm going to link the two of these off into SP Little Knight. And then we can set Phalanx and then pass over to them. So, yeah, even though, you know, we kind of had to improvise and not go into full combo to out the full Armor Master, we still have 4 points of disruption against a 4-card hand. We have SP, Pater, Phalanx. Actually, we have 5 points of disruption, Valor and Nib. I wasn't really counting Nib because we have a board state, but I could also easily see a situation where our Pater is outed and we SP away and then we could Nib. So 5 points of disruption against a 4-card hand is a pretty good situation to be in. Especially, as I was just about to say, a hand that the opponent could only summon full Armor Master on during their turn, right? So top decking Bonfire, going to go for the Trudea here. But it's going to draw on Lockbird, but that shouldn't matter. I think I should actually just be able to win this turn anyway, because the opponent's only at 4,700 here. So, yeah, I could just even battle here. So, battling with the SP Little Knight, just see if I can get over the face-down monster. It ends up being Zephyros the Elite, so, yep, Dissipator plus Primera is going to be enough to finish our opponent off here. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, just having the ability to out the 3K stat line, important in this matchup and quite a few. So, just again, something to always keep in mind when you're deck building. Not that you should always go out of your way to include a big monster. Not every deck can support that or even needs it, but it is just something to be mindful of for sure. So, I got one more duel for us to check out here. Let's finish off with that one. And our final game is going to be against Fire King Snake Eye, which I think this is... Actually, I don't think I know. This is the only time, first and only time since the update dropped, I think that I've played against it. Watch it to me just have shown another game against Fire King Snake Eye in another video. But if this wasn't the only one, it's one of, like, you know, a small handful. I guess to be fair, Snake Eye did get hit in the last banlist with the Poplar limit. All the variants did. Although I think Fire King Snake Eye is still perfectly playable. So here they're going to hit me with the Maxi, so I'm going to hit them with the 0 draws. And of course, Centur-Ion actually can play very well under the Maxi, setting up the ability to Synchro 12. Now, we don't have a 12 on the field, so we can't exactly go for like a Crimson Dragon and do anything here, but we can still go for a Legatia. So I would Legatia here, but the OSS could just send the Poplar anyway, so it's kind of not really much of a point. I'm just going to Maxi in response to the OSS. And they don't have a response, which is pretty good for me here. Also holding onto this Nib as well. Going for Snake Eye Ash. The Bestials also could come up in this matchup. Of course, they are mostly fire stuff, but they have not only Diabell Star, but also IP Masquerena as stuff that we can eat with the Bestials. So they're going into the Fire King stuff here. Yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting on this this Primera plus Trudea here, because like I said, I can really only go for Legatia, and popping their strongest monster in this kind of game state just does not really end up doing a lot. So that's still fine though, because I can just hang on to this Nib, right? My plan right now is just wait for an opportune time to Nib them, and then eat the token with Legatia. Now here they are going to move to battle phase, but we should be fine with our Bestials. I'm going to Magnum Hunt some in that defense mode. Get a little bit unlucky when they have Ghost Ogre here. Thought I was going to be able to block 2 attacks, this one coming in from Flamberge and the one from Diabell Star, but I'm only going to be able to block the 1 here. So after they Ghost Ogre the Magnum Hunt, I'm going to summon the Baldrake, eat the damage from Garura and Diabell Star. While that is a lot, it's not 8,000, so main phase 2, opponent's going to go into the Nightmare Phoenix. Still under Maxi, of course, by the way. Nightmare Phoenix F. I'm just going to go ahead and Valor this. I really want them. I think they're playing around the Nib here, and they're doing an excellent job of it. Even though my Nib is disguised by the fact that I am going to get priority pass because of Primera / Trudea, I thought they were going to hand rip here, but they actually go for the draw 2. Gonna activate the Flamberge. I'm waiting for them to link off this Flamberge, but they actually go for the end of main phase first, if you can believe it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go Primera and Trudea into the Legatia and just pop your Flamberge then, if you don't want to link it off, you know. I'm willing to nib away my Legatia. I'm fine with that. Alright, So Primera is going to search Wake Up just in case I need it. I already have Bonfire and Stand Up to make plays. Get another Stand Up here. Flamberge, bring back the Ponix and the Poplar. Poplar is going to add the Subversion here. They're going to use Subversion on the Legatia. This is fine. I was going to nib it away anyway. But then they actually don't summon anymore. So I let them go to end phase. And I was like, really? Wow. But, you know, I'm willing to hold on to this Nibiru for another turn here. Because this board state doesn't seem particularly threatening. So I'm going to Bonfire for the Trudea here. They have the Kieran. I'm going to chain Maxi here because this Kieran is not about to be the only special summon during my turn. I already know that for sure. So Kieran pop Ponix to special. Even draw another Maxi for their next turn, which is nice. Here's your Grunix. Grunix pops Kieran. Kieran F. Bring back Ponix. Pop my Trudea. This is fun because we still have this Stand Up as well as Emblema Oath. They're going for Skyburn here. I'm going to Emblema Oath for the Primera. Primera F to summon and then add a Phalanx, because it's pretty much the last Centurion card I don't have at this point. Summoning the Druistorm, I'm really trying to go for... Oh, I thought I was going to go for Baron here. Oh no, I think I've locked into Centurions at this point because of Emblema Oath, I think. Yeah, because I have to use Primera for Centurion summon. That's right, I wanted to go for Baron de Fleur. Oh, because I could have popped the field spell here. It would have been so good. But, yeah, like I said, I had to go for a Centurion. I should have... I wonder if I could have played that in a way where I could have summoned a Baron. Yeah, not being able to summon a Baron here on this turn, I think, was pretty not great for me. I am still going to try to get some damage in here, as well as just clearing the board in general. But they still have the field spell, and they still have a couple of cards in the spell trap zone. That said, we have Phalanx, Maxi, Ash Blossom, and Nib, so... We also have the ability to make a 12 on their turn, which could be Crimson Dragon for either Blazar or Red Supernova. Alright, so they're going to go OSS. I decided to Ash Blossom this. Not even just for the search, but I also did not want them to put that Flamberge back in the deck. I wanted that to stay in the graveyard. I'm going to summon the Primera here, and then Primera F, as well as, of course, Stand Up Centurion. I'm going to sink the Centurions for Crimson Dragon. There's the Crimson Dragon. Primera F adds Trudea. I think I only had like one more Trudea left in my deck as my last Centurion card at this point. Alright, Gargoyle 2 to add itself back. That's Chainlink 1. Chainlink 2 here is for the Blazar. I know I said earlier Red Supernova is what you should go for, but I'll be candid with you. I was pretty low on time at this point. So I was just like, fine, just go for Blazar. Here they're going to Skyburn away the Blazar, which I'm going to activate here. I guess to be fair, we also knew they had Skyburn, so they could just use that on the Supernova as well. Like, I would chain Supernova to Ulcanix and they'd chain Skyburn, if I even chained it there, right? So, they're going to pop to add the Arvada. Grunix F to summon itself, and then it's going to pop another Ulcanix, I think? Yeah. Ulcanix F to summon the old Grunix, and I tried to activate Phalanx on it, but this was the point where I got the time limit loss. I got the time limit loss. I overcooked myself, what can I say? Just trying to figure out how to out this Fire King Snake Eye board. I will say, this happens to me, I feel like, against this deck more often than some others, just because this deck, Fire King Snake Eye that is, has so many layers to it that, like, trying to figure out, like, how to out all of them and navigate through them can be, I mean, it can be a bit much sometimes, but yeah, still I think a pretty solid game overall. But would have loved to finish it. I think I could have come back there, but it really would have depended on what else my opponent was able to do. So also, I don't think I would have necessarily used Centurion Phalanx there if I wasn't panicking and low on time. I would have probably waited for them to link into just a link monster in general and then banish that. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. That's it for these games. Thank you so very much for watching. That is it for this one. Let us move now to the outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.